లాలేష్ వినిపిస్తుందా?
సార్
ఇప్పుడు కరెక్ట్ ఉందా నాది హైట్ అన్ని?
ఓకే పర్ఫెక్ట్.
నేను ఇక్కడ స్ట్రైట్ చూస్తున్నా కదా జర. ఇంకోటి వాళ్ళు మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు వాళ్ళని ఒక్కరినే పెట్టలేమా?
అలా పెడితే గ్రాఫిక్స్ చేయలేము.
ఓ గాడ్, అట్లా వేస్తే బాగుంటుందేమో. ఎక్కువసేపు మనం ఉండకుండా ఒక్కోసారి ఏమవుతుంది అంటే నేను అక్కడ చూస్తున్నా ఇక్కడ చూస్తున్నా, ఇప్పుడు నీకు టెక్స్ట్ చేయాలంటే దీన్ని చూడాలి, అట్లా అవుతుంది.
అట్లా అయితే కొంచెం ఇబ్బంది అవుతుంది మనకి. అది కరెక్ట్ టైం చెప్పింది, కానీ గ్రాఫిక్స్ యాడ్ చేయలేము.
ఇది ఇంకా పైకి పెట్టాలి కదా ఈ బిల్లని.
కొంచెం
ఇప్పుడు రేపు ఇది టీవీ5 ఏంది కదా?
టీవీ5 ఏంటి సార్?
రేపు టీవీ5 కూడా ఇద్దామని అనుకుంటున్నాను నేను. శ్రీధర్ సార్ అడుగుతా ఇప్పుడు.
మాట్లాడి శ్రీధర్ మాట్లాడితే
ఎవరు ఉండాలి మరి ఆడ చేయడానికి?
ఎక్కడ సార్?
ఇండియాలో.
అక్కడ ఎవరో ఒకరు షిఫ్ట్ లో ఉంటారు కదా, వాళ్ళకు పంపించేస్తాను లింక్.
ఓకే. ఇది వెనకాల బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ కూడా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు కదా మనం?
ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్, వస్తున్నా ఆగండి.
యా. ఇట్లా ఇప్పుడు ఇట్లా చదువుకుంటా వేస్తాను. రేపటిది మంచి స్పందన వస్తుంది. హలో, ఆల్ సెట్. యా స్టార్ట్ అయిందిరా. ఓకే 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 మనది గట్టిగా మూసేవా? సంగతి సవాల్ మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చేయరా, ఇంకా ఉంటుంది టైం. క్లారిటీ ఏమవుతుంది ఇంకా ఎందుకు అంతే. లాలేష్
సార్
నేను అయిపోయినప్పుడు నీకు టెక్స్ట్ ఇస్తా చూడు వాట్సాప్.
ఓకే క్లోజింగ్.
ఓకే అని కొడితే నువ్వు ఆన్లైన్ లోకి వచ్చి చూస్తుండాలి. మేము థ్యాంక్స్ అన్నదాడు ఇంకా బంద్ చేసేయాలి. ఓకే ఓన్లీ కే అని కొడితే, ఓన్లీ కే అని కొడితే నీకు వచ్చేస్తుంది. తర్వాత ఎడిటింగ్ చేసేటప్పుడు కొద్దిగా తక్కువ చేయాలి. జనాలు అందరూ 15-20 నిమిషాల కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉండొద్దు అంటున్నారు. ఆగా ఆయనకు ఒకసారి మెసేజ్ ఇస్తా ఆల్ సెట్ అని. ఇప్పుడే అయిపోయిందంట, పిల్లలు రెడీ అయిందంట, వాళ్ళు రెడీ అవుతున్నారు. ఇప్పుడు పైకి అతికించుకున్నా చదవనీకే.
గెస్ట్ వస్తే ఒకసారి అడ్మిన్ కొట్టండి సార్, మీరు పోస్ట్ ఉన్నారు.
నేను అడ్మిన్ కావాలనా?
మీకు పోస్ట్ ఇచ్చాను, గెస్ట్ వస్తే అడ్మిట్ కొట్టండి.
అడ్మిన్ లోకి రావాలనా? నాకు అర్థం కాలే.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్, వస్తున్నా.
ఓకే
రెడీ చేస్తున్నాను.
పడుకున్నా అంది లాలేష్? పడుకున్నా?
ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్, వస్తున్నాను.
నీళ్ళు తాగొస్తాను.
చెప్పండి సార్.
ఒక్క నిమిషం నీళ్ళు తాగొస్తాను.
గెస్ట్ కూడా
వచ్చారా? వస్తుంది.
సెంటర్ చేయండి సార్ కొంచెం ఫ్రేమ్.
Huh?
మీ ఫ్రేమ్ కొంచెం సెంటర్ చేయండి.
Frame, huh? Okay.
గెస్ట్ వచ్చాడు ఒకసారి చూడండి.
ఇంకా రాలేదు, వచ్చిండు ఆన్ అయితే.
అంటే ఒకసారి ఆన్ చేశాడు, ఎవరు లేరని చెప్పేసి.
Good afternoon, Ron.
Hi, Praveen. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ron. Thank
There
you
we
so
go.
much. So we just have 9 more minutes. Oh, I'm able
There
to.
you are.
Awesome. So you are in the office, Ron, or at home?
No, actually, I'm just got to the house.
Okay.
Hence the background.
Okay, that was a nice background.
కొంచెం లిటిల్ బిట్ బ్యాక్ హెడ్ రూమ్ కొంచెం కట్ అవుతుంది.
Yeah. Ron, I think you have to move little bit back so that we can see completely.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's awesome.
Gotcha.
Maybe I also need to put some design background.
Okay, sir. 7 minutes ఉంది సార్ ఇంకా.
Yeah, we have 7 more minutes. No problem.
What happened? There we go.
Yeah, we have 7 more minutes, Ron.
Sure, no problem.
Half an hour as a show.
Yes, 30 minutes.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
No problem. Ron, now your tenure is completing 2016 to 2020.
So it will be. So December 31st will be the completion of my first term, and January 1, start of number 2.
So again, you have to run for the election and all those kinds of stuff.
So, I ran as a conservative, as a Republican in the primary, and I went unopposed, and there's no Democratic opponent. So I'm the only person on the ballot in November. So I'm blessed that I don't have an opponent.
Awesome. We wish you should be the next term too. So Ron, pretty much some of the questions what I have put is extensive focus on community. and also what are the new upcoming trends during this COVID, and how to improve the community relations. So that would be main focus in this 30 minutes. And last closing, I will give you 5 minutes where you can tell openly what you want to tell to the community, and that's all we want. And I want your help on fire next one. Someone from fire department.
Oh, I can make that happen. I was with Ed this week, so he and I know each other very, very well, and certainly get somebody from his office, if not Chief Head himself.
Thank you so much, man.
Good guy.
Just this is an awareness program to the community, all different departments, all different organizations, how they can be helped to each other, and at least to know about them. That's what my main focus and effort on this show.
Well, certainly a good introduction to the Indian community, and maybe some first times, and some they can get to it whenever they want to.
Sure.
This certainly there's that'd be a good opportunity there.
Mm-hmm. And after that, I will give the editing version of that, and you can put it on your website or whatever you want to.
Okay.
And I will send it to you the link.
Good.
So if you want your logo to be added, then I can do it for you as well.
We'll certainly probably add a link to our website to the podcast and things like that.
Sure. Okay. Awesome. Busy Friday on today?
Not too bad today. We had some things going on. I got to swear in 3 new deputies that just graduated the police academy, and that's always a good thing. So proud of them, and looking forward to seeing where their careers go soon. You know, very sharp young men and women.
Yeah, awesome. So how many women we have today in our county? Women officers?
Ooh, I have. I don't know the exact number, but we're closing in on. I think we're just over 50 or just shy of 50.
50.
So I have a significantly higher population of female officers than most agencies do percentage wise.
Awesome.
Yeah, and some of them are just fantastic.
Yeah. You're settled in the new house, Ron?
Yeah, we still are.
Okay.
So it's in framing right now, so they're starting the framing. So it'll soon look like a house.
Okay. So you're not still staying there. You're just still building.
Yeah, still building. Oh yeah, no, it's literally lumber on the ground. They haven't even. They're starting just from the ground. So only a basement and walls up now.
Oh my God, that's a big work.
I'm glad they're doing it, not me.
How big is the house? How many acres?
Actually, acreage. We bought some acreage. We have 4.5 acres.
Oh, okay.
But we actually downsized the house. The house is only about, on the main level, it's a ranch with on a full basement. It's only about 2,300 square feet. I mean, I have one that's 26 and engaged. My son's a senior in college, and it's had a full finished basement. We're actually moving my mother-in-law in.
So your son's name is Hunter, right?
It is.
Hunter.
He's in his senior year of college at Valdosta University.
Okay.
All online.
Mm-hmm. Dalesh, ready? Oh, did I text you? Lalesh, are you there? Ready? Ready, huh? Okay. Na Facebook lo na? నాకు ఒకసారి లింక్ పంపి I'll share. I'll share. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just 1 minute, Ron. We are almost done. Ready? Yeah. One minute. 1 minute. One minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Ready, Lalesh? Ready. Lalesh, ready.
Okay. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mana TV. And this is our episode 3 on Insight with Praveen Kumar. Today we have our guest as Ron Freeman, Sheriff from the Forsyth County. So we'll just introduce about Ron. So I would like to introduce Ron here. Ron was elected as Sheriff of Forsyth County on November 8, 2016. He began his career with the Sheriff Office in 1987 under the Sheriff Wesley Walraven. He rose through the ranks, rising to a senior commander when he was recruited in 2013 to start the newly formed Brookhaven Police Department in Atlanta. After building the police department for 2 years, Ron returned home to Forsyth County and is honored to serve as our sheriff. Ron is married to Donna and he has 2 kids, Lexi and Ryder. And he has been a number of positions previously, like Georgia Sheriff's Association chaplain, Georgia Sheriff's Association Legislative Committee, and he also served in many of the local boards like Balridge Boys Lodge, United Way Community, Grants, First Baptist Church, North Forsyth Football Booster Club, and also an executive board. He served as a past president for FBI National Academy. Thank you, Ron, for joining us, and we are very glad for your time today. And today's episode, we would mostly focus on what are the trends in the law enforcement and also the community relationships. Look at Ron, always smiling. You know, we really love him to have our Portside Sheriff, and thank you, Ron. So, Ron, please let us know, our viewers, most of the law enforcement upcoming trends, like in this COVID period, what are you seeing?
So, Praveen, thank you for having me. Always good to see you, my friend. And I love the fact that even in these challenging times of COVID and semi-lockdown and all the things that we face, we still find ways to connect with people. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do, is find ways to connect and pass information and ensure people's safety. So even on a Zoom call or a YouTube video or whatever it is, it's always awesome that we find ways, we have found new ways to connect. So during this unprecedented time for us and this pandemic with COVID, it's presented a number of challenges, but unlike some other organizations or industries or things like that, I can't send all my people home and work from home and do Zoom meetings. We've yet to figure out how to answer a 911 call of a violent crime through Zoom or one of the other, online meetings. So we're still out there on the front line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And on top of that, most people don't quite realize that sheriffs and police chiefs are different. And I'll explain that later. But not only do we patrol the streets, answer your 911 calls, ensure that you're the safety of our community at large, we also are responsible for running the jail that today had 324 inmates in it. That's down significantly from pre-COVID. We also are responsible for securing the courts. So the courthouses and the courtrooms, deputy sheriffs are constitutionally, by the Constitution of Georgia, bound to protect those. And then we do a number of other things, from investigations to narcotics investigation to the 43 deputies who were assigned full-time to our school system. Today we have, what's one of the challenges we have today? A little over 50,000 students total in Forsyth County school system. 39,000 today are face-to-face. But yet that means about 11,000 or a little more are in either a hybrid, which is all online, or online and some face-to-face. So that's challenges for our school resource officers as well. All 43 of those who are dedicated to making sure our kids are safe. So we've had to adapt. Unfortunately, we've had a number of deputies who were stricken by COVID-19. I'm happy to report that they are all doing well. Most have completely recovered. I think I only have 2 out right now. And they're just waiting for negative test results. They're symptomatic. They were symptomatic, but they're much better. And for the first time in mid-August, I hate to say that we had an outbreak in the jail. We were able to keep it out of the jail population from March, when it really was kicking off, February, March, until mid-August. But I believe today we had went from over 24 cases at its height to, I believe we had 2 active cases in the jail today. So they've done very good work of reacting to things that law enforcement normally doesn't do. We're not in the disease management business. We're in keeping people safe business. So we've done all those things. And I'm very proud of what the men and women of the Sheriff's Office have done during this challenging time.
Awesome, Ron. Definitely, you are the front-end heroes, and we just wanted to salute you for all the work you do during this pandemic. So what kind of call volumes you have seen? You have seen increased or decreased before and after COVID?
So in March and April, when we were at the height of the lockdown, if we want to use that term, when most of us were at home and staying in our homes and things like that, we saw a significant decrease in things that you would expect, like traffic accidents, because there were much less vehicular traffic, less cars on the road. We saw a reduction in DUIs because there's less cars on the road. We actually saw a reduction in burglaries and thefts. Why? Because most families were at home, in homes. Fast forward from March, April, even going into May, to July, August, and now into September, we're back to almost 100% full speed. And probably the same of people that you know, Praveen, and that your viewers know. Many of you are back at work. If you're in one of the fields, there's some fields that are really easy to work from home, IT field, other things like that, but it still presents challenges. But we're seeing more and more restaurants open, more and more businesses open. We see more and more like industrial and manufacturing jobs returning to work. So if you've been driving on Georgia 400 or one of our major roadways, you found this thing again called traffic,
Yes.
Which had disappeared for a while. So we're seeing our call volumes return to normal. We're not seeing any particular increase, but we're back to normal pre-COVID. So we're back to full staff of doing what we normally do, and that is answering 911 calls and being proactive to keep bad guys out of our community.
Thank you, Ron. So definitely glad to hear that the crimes have come down. So in this era, mostly people are on internet, right? So are you seeing any cyber crimes at this time?
So we have, and I said we haven't seen a market increase, but we have seen an increase in, and I hate to report this, but we've seen an increase in what we call child predator crimes. So I have a high technology crimes unit who does nothing but target those people who are using the internet and computer related crimes. That could be anything from financial, but what we have seen an uptick on is child pornography,
Mhm.
child solicitation for pornography, solicitation for illicit acts with minors, and so we've been working really hard to put those people in jail who were doing those things because they pose a significant risk to our children. Now, the thing about that is that doesn't always mean they're local here, right? Because you could be on the West Coast, you could be uh, intercontinental, right? You could be in Europe, you could be anywhere. So that's the challenge that we have is those types of offenders are different than the burglar who breaks into your home. That's always going to be local. It always happens here, but the offender there may not. And so we've had to become very adept at tracking electronically offenders to find them wherever they may be in the world. And I'm proud to report that our team is one of the best at doing that. And we've been putting some bad guys behind jail who were otherwise endangering our kids. The other thing that we have seen a slight increase in is financial scams because why? People are home now. More people are at home than they were pre-COVID. And so these people are preying with phishing scams on email. They're calling on the phone. I mean, how many of you have got that? This is the IRS. We have a criminal warrant for your arrest because you didn't file your taxes. Well, IRS doesn't call and do that. They're
Exactly.
personal information from you. So we have seen an increase in those attempts. I think our community is well, it's the highest educated populace in the state of Georgia. And I think our people are pretty good at identifying those obvious scams and avoiding those, but we have had some victims of those.
So, Ron, that's a good point on especially on the children. Really, right now, everything is virtual.
Yes.
So, small kids, unknowingly, they might be opening Google, they might be opening YouTube, and what is your suggestion based on the crimes you are seeing? How do you request the community to be safer, and what are the steps to be taken? Did we publish anywhere, or you are going to, or what is the strategy there?
So we're working on series and we have published before and we teach classes on with our high technology crimes unit and our internet crimes against children unit on how to avoid those things. But look, here's the real simple thing. No one is calling your kid on the cell phone and soliciting them for something improper, right? I mean, I say that's not. It's rare that that would ever happen. Generally speaking, and almost primarily what we see is young children. And when I say young, I'm talking about 10 to 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
See 4 and 5 year olds, they're not adept at, they're on all of these online apps, right?
Mhm.
They're not on email. They're not on Facebook. Kids aren't on Facebook. They're not particularly on Instagram or things like that. But what we're seeing them going into chat rooms and into apps that have chat. And so here's my suggestion to parents. I know a lot of parents don't want to invade the privacy and they want to give their children some privacy.
Mhm.
When it comes to your child's safety, they have no privacy. And we have to be parents first. And I am a parent as well. And so, particularly right now in these unprecedented times when we're at home and our children are online, probably more than ever before, you have to be adept. You have to know what your kids, what's on their cell phone, what's on their computer, and who they're talking to and what they're doing. You have to monitor that because it's not them intending to do something wrong. You have a predator luring them into thinking that the person is somebody other than who they are.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's talk about more on the drug trafficking run. I know that the schools are virtual, but still some of the schools are already operating. So do you still see the drug trafficking, and what is your advice to the parents?
So from the school side, let's talk about our children and drugs, okay? Of those 43 dedicated school resource deputies who are at our schools every day that they're open, right? Uh, two of those, two are full-time canine units with drug dogs. And so, unlike years past, where we had 3 or 4 dogs would come in and search a school to make sure there were no drugs at the school, we would shut the whole school down. The kids would get locked in the classroom. Um, but here's what happened: the kids knew when we did that, we probably wouldn't be back for several months because we had other schools to go to and do that. Now, with these two full-time canine units within the school system, within the school resource officer program, they're in the schools every day. And so they show up at the same school 4 times in a week. The dogs that we have are different than the dogs we had before. They're drug only. They're like big fluffy pets. They're very sweet. They're very nice, but they are very good at finding drugs. So now we can walk down the hallways with kids in the hallway.
Mhm.
We don't worry about a dog that would bite someone or do anything like that. These dogs were specifically acquired for our school system to be able to do that. And I'm happy to report that we're finding very little drugs within the school system itself. Every now and then we'll find a pill or we'll find a little bit of marijuana, but it's actually really small amounts compared to what we're seeing in the community. The problem that we face with our children is drug usage before and after school. Okay. Um, and our kids are getting their drugs a lot of times from your home, right? You've got a bottle of painkillers where you had your shoulder surgery and you just left them in the medicine cabinet for 2 years. Why? In case your shoulder hurts again or something, right? So we need to get rid of those things. And just real fast to tell you, if you have any unused painkillers,
Mhm.
medications at the North Precinct, the South Precinct, and at the jail, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office jail, there are drop boxes. The one at the jail is 24/7. At the precincts are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And you can walk right in, drop those in and you don't have to fill anything out. You have to do anything else, drop them in. We account for them and we incinerate them so that they can't get in bad hands.
This is scary, Ron. So I would like to definitely tell my viewers also to really understand the stress. So do we have any counseling sessions going on, Sheriff?
So counseling sessions, Praveen? So
Yes.
one of the things that your board of commissioners, who are the stewards of the county, interesting thing, as I said, there's between police chiefs and sheriffs. I don't work for the county. I do not work for the board of commissioners. I work for you, Praveen. I work for the 250,000 people who live in Forsyth County. They are my bosses. I report directly to them, to no one else. And that's not a beating your chest of it is the fact that I report directly to the people, right? And the people choose whether or not I'm doing a good job at election time. So the commissioners are the people who run the day-to-day of the county, just not the law enforcement side of things. Now, we work tremendously well together. I think we have a stellar board of commissioners. They are staunch conservatives who are dedicated to seeing our children do well, our school systems do well, your home values stay well. They're pretty much pushing the American dream, and that's what we all want in some respects. You know, you and I have had this discussion with our Indian community and so many of our friends in the Indian community. Our construct of the American dream and the Indian dream are so well aligned, right? We want our kids to do well. We work hard. We take care of our families. I mean, they align so well. So getting to that point is that board of commissioners, along with I and the school system, decided to take our money together and we funded for Central High School and for our alternative high schools, which are our most at-risk children. We funded a full-time drug counselor, substance abuse counselor for that school.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Ron, in your previous discussion, you were mentioning about K9. So, what do we, as an end user or as a normal citizen, how do I understand K9 functions?
Okay. So the sheriff's office has 3 functions with its 4 functions in reality. Canines, we're talking about dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have primarily our breed that we use are Belgian Malinois. They're very akin to German Shepherds. All of our Belgian Malinois are what we call tri-purpose or patrol training. So they can apprehend by biting a bad guy. They can search for drugs. They also can track like a person who's ran through the woods. And they're good at all three of those things, but they're not great at all three. Then the two dogs that we have in the school system is a Labrador Retriever. He only finds drugs. And then another Belgian Malinois who's trained only to find drugs as well. He doesn't track people. He doesn't do. And as of today, I just had a conversation before we went online. I have two of my deputies in South Carolina at a breeder, a dog breeder, a canine breeder, and we're about to hopefully, I haven't heard word yet, acquire a bloodhound, which is a tracking only dog. Most people know what a bloodhound is, right? And so we use that to track bad guys, kids, maybe elderly patients with dementia who have walked off and done those things. So we're about to add a bloodhound to our mix. And so the dogs serve all those different purposes for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. One other thing I wanted to touch on, racial comments. So due to this COVID, increase of unemployment is existing across. So most of the community, we get to hear that, there are some racial comments going on across, so be careful. So in that stand, what do you want to tell to the community? What steps they need to take extra care to be during this time?
So, and from a racial standpoint, look, it's real simple. It's kind of the golden rule, and it's the way I was raised. It's the way that I expect my agency to behave and perform. You treat people like you would want to be treated yourself.
Exactly.
It's as simple as respecting one another. You and I met now about 3 or 4 years ago. We had never met each other before. We formed a friendship since then. It doesn't matter that you came from somewhere different than I did. It matters about the substance of who you are and who I am, and whether we can find commonality to appreciate each other and what we do. And it's that simple. There are, and I don't mind saying it, there are some politically driven agendas right now that are seeking to divide us as a nation, as a community, and as anything else. And I think it's incumbent on all of us on the good side to denounce that. Certainly, we all denounce racism, right? I mean, who would not? Well, if you don't, only a racist would not. So certainly we denounce that. But we have to get past the rhetoric. We have to get past the screaming and the yelling. And we have to be able to have what I term as adult conversations. Two adults can find something in common. We don't have to have everything in common. We can find something in common. And those are the things that we have to get to. And unfortunately, right now, what we're seeing in our country, and not so much in this community, actually very rarely in Forsyth County,
I was about to tell you that.
Is not a lot of adults talking. It's like children screaming at each other, and not a lot gets accomplished with that. So not only that, let me touch really fast on this. We take great care to make sure that our law enforcement officers, the deputy sheriffs who serve you in and out every day in this community, are well trained and well screened. We do intensive background checks on those individuals. We look for bias. We look for anything that may show a sign of racism. We train on implicit bias. We train on things. We track data to ensure that we get an early warning if we see that maybe one category of person, whether that be by race, whether that be by gender, nationality, religion, whatever that means. We don't really track religion. I'll retract that. But we track those statistical data of who we interact with and what we do with them to ensure, if I looked at our ticket statistics of the citations we write for traffic violations, mm-hmm. I saw that we wrote 80% of our tickets to, hypothetically, to Indian males. Mm-hmm. Not only accounts for about 16% of our population total in the Indian community. So let's say 50-50, that's only 8%. Then obviously there would be a problem there. Now, our statistics don't show anything like that. Actually, our statistics and what we call our targeted data show that the most likely person to get a ticket in Forsyth County per capita, not just by numbers, but by statistical analysis and per capita, if you're a white male, you're more likely to get a ticket than any other race, any other gender, any other nationality in Forsyth County. And what that shows me and what that gives me the checks and balances are to ensure that our deputies are treating everyone equally, fairly, and applying the law fairly.
Very well said, Ron. Very well said, Ron. So, in the interest of time, I would like to touch upon two or three factors, and then we will close this
Sure.
call. One other thing I wanted to bring it to understand more on what are the technologies you have introduced during this COVID time.
So I'll be very succinct. One of the things we recently added is facial recognition and thermal imaging. Now, the thermal imaging, when I say that, we have to secure all of the courthouses and the government buildings. That's my responsibility as sheriff. Well, we have to screen all the people coming in, and we've all seen this with COVID, right? Take your temperature, the thermal thermometers. Well, I had thousands of people, my deputies were having to point a thermal thermometer at and do that. So we found some technology that does facial recognition, determines if you're wearing a mask, tells you to put on a mask, not to put on a mask, and also from a distance of up to 8 feet, within plus or minus 0.2 degrees, will give us your temperature range. And so that has made a huge technology change in how we can get people quickly in and out of government buildings. You know, the other thing technology wise is we've had to take a hard look, just like everybody else, of what we're doing right now. How do we maximize the use of online meetings, training? When deputies are out sick, if they have COVID, but they're not very symptomatic, we send them home and can still pay them because they're at home doing online training. So we've maximized the use of that.
That's great. That's great, Ron. Ron, the important thing is community interactions, relationship. So I'm very sure that I'm very happy with the Forsyth County. The relationship what we have with the sheriff office is great. But again, we wanted to hear from you. What are the different ways the citizens can connect with sheriff office? What are the different events or different ways they can help you, or they can be helped themselves?
Sure. Well, pre-COVID, we were literally touching and teaching hundreds of classes and HOA meetings and things like that. In the last 2 days, myself, some county commissioners and state representatives, state senators have hosted 2 town hall HOA meetings, which is the first ones we've done since COVID. We were at St. Marlowe and we were at Grand Cascade subdivision last night. So we're slowly getting back into those. We're doing everything we can on social media to push stuff out and do that. But, you know, one of the things we do very well is encourage our deputies that when they're just out in their day-to-day, when they see somebody out at a store or walking their kids on the sidewalk, to do that, to stop and interact. Not a police interaction, but just that, hey, how are you? Is everything going okay in your neighborhood? And, you know, that's just the kind of conversations that generate positivity between both the law enforcement officer, the deputy sheriff, and our citizens. And then, as you know well, one of the first things I did when I was elected sheriff is I created a citizens advisory board.
Exactly.
A citizens advisory board is made up of different community leaders from across our county, from across races, from across genders, nationalities, and I depend on them to give me feedback as to what they are hearing and what they see in the community, and to ensure that we're building, always building on that trust factor that we have with our community. Because if we ever lose the trust that our community has in us, then our effectiveness will decrease exponentially.
That's great. I also want to add one more thing, Ron. So we also have a WhatsApp group running across the HOA members. We tried gathering most of the members from different communities so that we can spread across any of the important message from the sheriff office.
Awesome.
I've been a big advocate, and I've been forwarding all your good things, good stuff to the community, and we'll be continuing to do that. And the festival season is arriving, Ron. Now that everyone are at home, but again, during this October, September, and November, if you see, they are the big festival season for Indians. So, do you have any strategies for the burglaries during this time?
So one of the great things I have told you, and many of your viewers will know, is that over the past years we've seen a targeted effort by cartel-based criminals to target our Indian community, broader Asian community, particularly our Indian community. I'm happy to say that we're one of the few agencies in the nation who has caught quite a few of those individuals in the act. And what we have seen, knock on wood, and we continue to be vigilant towards it, is an almost complete elimination right now of those targeted burglaries. That doesn't mean an Indian family may not be a victim of a burglary, but the targeted ring seems to have been gone after we apprehended this last group. I think as a broader group, they realized we were putting that much effort in it, and maybe this was not the place they wanted to try that in. But we remain vigilant in that. We remain vigilant in trying to create neighborhood watches and working with our problem-oriented policing officers out of the precincts. And we're well staffed. We are well funded and well staffed. All this craziness you hear about defund the police and all that, that's not Forsyth County. Our commissioners support us, our community supports us, and we know that, and we support them in turn. So we have plenty of officers to protect our community, and we'll continue to do so. And God forbid, if we see an uptick in any targeted burglaries, I will bring every resource that I have to combat that.
Thank you, Ron. So what is the time frame today if anyone calls 911? What is your goal?
So response time? Okay. So I track that every month. That's one of the statistical data that I want to know. So last month, and I'm going to be off by a couple of seconds because I do not have that data in front of me, but one of my things that I care about. So a true emergency response, not that you called and said, hey, somebody stole a shrub out of my yard last night and I'm not at home now, but I'll be at home later. But you called and said, there's an emergency in progress. Somebody's breaking into my home. Somebody's having a heart attack, those types of true emergencies. Our average response time is under 6 minutes in South Forsyth and 6 minutes and 1 second in North Forsyth.
Wow, that's awesome, Ron. Thank you so much.
And that is our average. So obviously that means some are much faster, some are a little longer, but a 6 minute response time in a county the size of Forsyth County with 250,000 with our traffic, I'm very proud of. It's down almost 2 minutes from when I took office.
What kind of support you got from the community during these tough times, Ron?
Well, we're all on a diet because the community has brought us so much food and so much blessing to us. It is rare that officers can buy their own lunch or dinner because our community is trying to do that. We've had neighborhoods when we had trouble getting PPE. Look, let me say this, our Indian community came out huge for us. And you know this, Praveen. People in some leadership in our Indian community, when we were having trouble finding masks, donated over 10,000 masks to the office in our first response. And that's just incredible. And I think that's just another example that shows that we have a good relationship, right? We were working on these relationships long before all the craziness we're seeing on the news right now. So we're blessed. We have an overwhelming level of support here, unlike what you're seeing in major cities where police officers, they can't hire anyone. Those officers living in those big cities are coming here wanting to come to work because they know what kind of community we have here.
Thank you, Ron. As the closing note, do you want to say anything before we close this call to the community?
No, I know we've run over a tiny bit, Praveen. So look, thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the community service that you're doing. This is just another way that we reach out, right? This is another way we get to know one another. And if we can do those things, and we're just taking a step in the right direction. To your viewers, forget all the stupid stuff you're seeing on TV in the news. Forget the people that are trying to divide us. We're all better than that. You're better than that. I'm better than that. Let's make sure that we keep Forsyth County a place that has all the things that it has. The #1 overall rated school system, the lowest crime rates in all of Metro Atlanta, the most educated population in the state of Georgia. It has the highest per capita income. It's the healthiest county in the state of Georgia. One of the best places to live in the nation. That's because of the leadership that's here and the people who live here, and they're continued. Let's keep that going. Let's keep Forsyth that great place it is to live. And that's a partnership.
Thank you, Ron. And we are proud to be in Forsyth County. I know that we are in the top 10 in the nation of the best places to live. And we all want to say again, thank you. Stay safe. We pray for you to be healthy and safe, you and your deputies. Thank you for serving us. Thanks.
Thank you, Praveen. Have a great day.